Hello, hello. Hello everyone, welcome to another live stream with me, 320 Sim Pilot. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Today we're going to take the rather exciting brand new Fenix Simulations A320 Block 2 version 2 for a flight from here at Heathrow down to Lyon in France. Quite a short flight, but it'll give us time to look at the airplane and see how all the systems and VNAV are working. And likewise, it will give us a chance to spend a bit more time on the ground just getting it set up and make sure we've seen some of the new features included with it. We're going to be the Midland 222 today. Just set that up on the overlay for you. And yeah, there we go. So, welcome. Thank you all for joining us today. Good evening to you, Alex. Chickpoint, it's good to have you here. Chickpoint says it's a late stream today, so I won't be joining with dinner, but a big pint of Ben & Jerry's. Excellent. I am very jealous of that. We are indeed a bit later today, just the time I could fit it in, I'm afraid. But yeah, hopefully it works for you all. Hurricane, good to see you here. CJ Mills, I hope you're doing very well. Thanks for joining us. To Mango, good to have you here. Dougal, thanks for coming along and moderating as always. Great to see you here, Dougal. Really appreciate it. Let's see, lots of names. Igloo Food, great to have you as well. Thanks for coming along. And the Wired Skies. Phil Norbeck, hope you're doing well. Flight Dispatch 320 as well. Great to have you all join us. It's really great to have you here. CJ has a great point, which is we need to turn on the PA to hear the PAs, which I will do because that came up in the video I made on this. There is a video already on the channel, of course, of this aircraft. Right, Sebastian, good to have you here as well, and thank you very much for the kind words. Appreciate it. Sean, Mr. Wick, we've got Tyson, Steph, Ian, thank you for coming along. Dave as well. Dave, I'm doing very well. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us. 11 Clark M, thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. Really appreciate it. 11 Clark M says, been looking forward to this stream. As for once I can join and fly along. Excellent. So yeah, hopefully the slightly different time does allow some people to join in who maybe haven't had the chance before. So that's good. I'm pleased about that. HG331, thanks for coming along. Great to have you here. Evening to you, Gary and Dave. So yeah, let me get started. So this is a complete revamp of the Fenix Simulations A320. It was already, I mean, it was pretty much the best 320 out there. Certainly the best from Microsoft Flight Simulator in terms of, you know, completeness and the level of systems and failures available. They were all there, and the visual model was stunning. But for some reason, we've been treated to a new visual model and a new internal model as well. So it looks even better than it did before, which is sort of hard to believe because it was so exceptionally good. And then there's been reworks of the systems and a lot of fixes of bugs. A lot of bugs that you wouldn't really notice unless you were really looking for them. But yeah, nonetheless, they needed to be fixed, and here we have this new version. So yeah, very happy about that. Thank you so much, 11 Clark M, for the £5 super chat. Really appreciate it. It's very generous, and thank you for the support. Very kind of you. Yeah, so we are going to take a look. Let me just get the camera sorted. We're too zoomed out here. I don't like that. Bit more zoomed in. There we go. Yeah, we're going to take it from this rather gloomy day at Heathrow. This is live weather. We are on VATSIM, but of course I've made it daylight just because streams are a bit hard to watch when they're all just at night. And here we have the new IAE engines, the big update as well, provided in this version of this version 2 of the Fenix. Now, these took a lot longer to arrive, I suppose, than a lot of people were hoping, but they are really super. The detail, the texturing, and I am particularly pleased with the animations that they've put into the fan blade. The way it starts up and spools up, again, I do show it in my video, but it looks spot on. And this intake and the fan blades are just perfect. The dimensions, every angle, every crease in the blade is just spot on to what I would expect from the real machine. Yeah, and I like that yellow spinner, although it does change to grey once the engine starts up. But that presumably is down to the livery. Yeah, the classic BMI livery. So version 1 of the Fenix came with a surprisingly good selection of old 90s charter liveries, which were my favourites. So we had lots of good ones like Air Tours already included. Sadly, those are no longer included. The version 2 liveries are different. Version 1 liveries don't work on version 2. So we've lost a lot of those. So I am hoping that some of our talented and hardworking livery artists will be able to relatively easily without too much work, be able to convert them over, but I'm sure it will be harder than it sounds. But yeah, that would be really good to get some of those back. I think Andy H1302, one of the moderators over at Dan Air Virtual, was saying half the airline's grounded out on the Phoenix, certainly at the moment. But there is this BMI one, and it's a smart one. It's an old one. I like the grey on the bottom half. I like the dark grey liveries. You don't see that these days very often, certainly not in Europe. Things have gone a bit more sort of white and bold colours, but these sort of slightly more muted grey liveries were around at the time. Yeah, and this is G mid-Y. So relatively old A320. We don't have sharklets, but I have fitted out inside with some of the nicer gear. Something else about this is that the texturing. So on the wing, I commented in my video that they've gone for a sort of matte finish on the wing, which is typical of some A320s, and some come with sort of a more glossy wing. Now, quite why that is, I don't know, but I've seen both many times. And I noticed that this livery seems to include the sort of more glossy wing. Which really surprised me. So yeah, it seems to be down to actual liveries as well as the... I thought it would be part of the model, but nope, down to livery as well. It's a shame it's so gloomy here. I have to do live weather or it all goes a bit funny on VATSIM, but yeah, it's giving you a realistic picture of what an A320 at Heathrow would look like right now, because it looks absolutely stunning, and they've got just the right amount of wear and grease on these wings. Anyway, do watch my video if you'd like to see more details. I spend about, I think it's a 35-40 minute video talking all about this airplane. An unusual thing, by the way, of BMI liveries is this painted tailplane. You don't see it, or stabilizer. You don't see this very often. But yeah, and yeah, I go through all the different bits. But here we are on stand. Fantastic model. We all know that the Phoenix visual model was great, and it's just got even better. Someone did tell me to have a look at the wheel well as well, so we'll do have that quickly. Yeah, look at that. Amazing. Amazing level of detail. I wish I could tell you what all those pipes do, but I just don't know. All I can tell you is that this mechanical landing gear lock here, this is where you put the gear pin for the main gear. On the 7.8, it's just a small pin through a little hole like it is on the nose gear, but on the 320 is a nice big red thing. You can't really miss it. On the 787 it's slightly different. For those of you who are new or haven't seen the channel before, I have flown the real A320 for thousands of hours over many years, but now I have moved on recently, relatively recently, to fly the Boeing 787. So I do have a lot of fondness for this airplane. I've spent a lot of time with it, and we've had a lot of fun and a lot of adventures. Look at those tyres. But yeah, now I am on the Boeing, which we do stream and have tutorials for on the channel. More to come. Look at that. That's brilliant. That's the brake wear pin. And that's a typical amount of brake wear. Sometimes if you see them out here, they're brand new, but the engineers will let them run right down. There's no point in removing brakes that are still usable. Nice. Very nice indeed. Funnily enough, the 787 has all these pipes as well, but they're not hydraulic brakes, so they're electrical cables, which is slightly different. Right, I think it's time we get the airplane powered on, and then we can get ourselves underway. There's the back of the engine as well. Oh, looks really, really, really brilliant, as you'd expect. Gorgeous. Right. In the flight deck. And first thing I'm going to show you is some of my settings. So I'm going for analog standby instrument. I like it. That's what this airplane certainly would have been fitted with. DDRMI probably would have been there. Yeah, I think we'll have that. Cabin ready could be added in, so I'm going to say they did. Brake fans, probably. DCDU, no. Satcom antenna, no. And then we're going for no FLS, no automatic autopilot. We are going to have LDEV. We are going to have AC essential auto switching, because that's how most Airbuses are modified. It makes so much sense. Yet hydraulic steering, fine. Nav and go around, also modification that would be included. And I've gone for frame EFB mount. If you have it on window, you get this effect with these suction cups, but I much prefer the frame mounted, and I just think it looks much nicer. Yeah, excel height we'll go for, let's go for 1,000, and yeah, why not? We'll have tried this ice detection system, see if it picks up any today. Cabin lights and vis are on. I'm not going to have rudder dampening. I had some trouble with it in my video, so I'm going to try without today. Otherwise, joint EFIS barrow, and we'll control from the left. Call outs, it's hard to get excited about these, so we'll leave it as it is. Good. Good. Done. Right. And we're just going to port, hopefully, from SimBrief, our flights. It's due at 20Z, so we are late. There you go, obviously. So I guess it thinks it's tomorrow. Anyway, there's our route. If anyone would like to fly along, you're very welcome to. Just jumping into the chat very briefly. I don't use GSX at the moment. So yeah, the PA announcement thing is an interesting one. I've turned it on down here. Now, in the notes, it says that you can hear it. Just open up the flight door. It says you can hear it louder with the door open. So I'm not entirely sure how to get the PAs to work. So we're going to see if they work today like this. Yeah, good. So weather. 160. Interesting. Yeah, so it's easterly departure out of Heathrow. Light rain. 7 degrees, 108. But it does look nice down in Lyon. Is there a ATIS? Look at that. Such a good EFB. EFB version 2 as well. Again, available. I talk more about this in the video. Some of the features. It's just more responsive and there's a few extra things in it. And the apps are now persistent, so they stay in the background. So departure 09 right. Just taking note of this very briefly. Wind 16014. And they got a QNH of 1008. Brilliant. SDS. So let's turn on SDS. See how that feels. Can do. Igloo Foo, I will take your advice. If you turn the PA dial all the way up, you can hear it pretty well. Okay, let's do that now. See if we can hear them. Okay, good. Right. Yep. So weather's good. There we go. We got that. And everything else in here is pretty much as you would expect. We have our checklist. We have the operational flight plan. And I like the fact you can shortcut to the weather brief. Very cool indeed. As you can see, 1 hour 15, Cosmex 42, cruising at flight level 270. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get the airplane powered up. It's here on stand. People want to get it on. So I am having to remember the order that the Airbus does, but I'm trying not to learn it again. So this won't be a tutorial on starting up the Airbus. That's all on the channel if you like the very detailed step-by-step instructions on why and how we press all these buttons in order. But that's starting to fade from my mind a little bit, as you would expect, because I have to remember the 787 version instead. So yeah, I do remember that we're going to check the batteries. And before we do the power, just make sure the obvious things. So gear down, engine masters off, mode selector in norm, wiper selectors off, battery voltages are good. So they're going to put them to auto or on and turn on the external power. And it comes to life. They've reworked the integral lighting, which is the sort of the backlighting or the yellow text you see. But it looks very nice to me indeed. So we'll just let that power up for a moment, and once the flight warning computer's online, we'll run through our flows. And we can check some hydraulics and so on, things like that. Let's get rid of those. In the meantime, I'm going to set up my charts. So we'll go to Navigraph. It's already in. Fantastic. So let's bring up a ground charts. Announcements cannot be triggered manually. Thanks, Matteo. Matteo Chewy, great to see you here. I hope you're doing very well. Thanks for coming along. Where's our ground chart? There's a good ground chart. And if I go back to here, we should be able to, if I scroll through quickly enough, find the route. There it is. ModMe departure. ModMe, there it is. Down to ModMe, south, about what we'd expect. So hopefully that's all the charts we need to get out of here. So let's get back to our app, and we'll go to, we won't load anything yet. Let's finish the flows, and we'll load up the airplane. So that's done. Then we're going to look down here, check we have oil, hydraulics, oxygen, Flap 0, which matches. Speed brake, retract, disarm, parking brake is on. Accu brake pressure checked. I think it was something like that. Oh, it's so hard to remember. Right, going to overhead flows, crew supply, ground control, and then we'll align the IRSs. Then we're going to put the nav lights on, strobe lights to auto, beacon off, no smoking, arm the emergency exit line, seatbelts off until we're fueled, leave everything else in there off, leave the packs on, leave the external power on, turn on the fuel pumps, and let's have a look at a couple of fire tests. You would of course check the ECAM, not the ICAS, the ECAM. Oh dear. You mean this thing isn't like riding a bike? It sort of is, but it's just I'm gonna say the wrong things many times over. I still on the Boeing I am prone to suggesting things like FMGC instead of FMC and ECAM instead of ICAS. So yeah, look at the visuals of this flight deck though, ridiculous, just amazing. They've done such a good job with it. Such a good job, and the screens as well. I love this new LCD. It is a thing with the LCDs that they do glow a bit. You get that sort of that haze off them, and the one time the old screens, the sort of the CRT screens are better. The way it flickers on and off, well, just amazing. Is when you're trying to fly around late at night because you could dim them better, whereas the LCDs sort of continue to have a bit of a glow, a bit of a glare. But yeah. Right. Aha, Streambot's not working, so let me turn that on. Hopefully that will wake it up. Thank you very much. Yes, that should work now. Great, thank you. Yeah, so yeah, LCD is looking absolutely brilliant now. So we've done those. I'm going to set the QNH of 1008 constraint. I'll set this up later. I love the sort of yellowy glow. There are different fits of that, which align our standby artificial horizon. The flight lighting switches are everywhere. There's ones under here. There's ones on the overhead panel. The great thing about the 787 is that it is basically controlled by one switch now. They've done a good job with that. But yeah, gear down, anti-skid nose steering on. We've got a QNH pressure. We'll do not the CDU, the McDo in just a moment. Oh, I can't believe how many years and how many times I've talked about it, made videos on it and so on, just for it to feel so unnatural now. But there we go. Actually, while I'm here, before I forget, let's go to AOC. Remember when the Airbus was the one that I would do? I would stream the Airbus when I didn't have much time because I could just jump into it, and now it's the harder one. We're listening to VHF1. We're on Unicom. We'll tune Heathrow in just a moment. And we've got interphone, cabin, and the PA turned on nice and loud. Weather radar off, predicted wind shear off. Everything on standby, flaps up, speed brakes retracted, parking brake on. Doors open, which we know. Good. Right, let's get into the box. So that's now done. So we'll go to data and we'll do our diff strip, which I now have to use as well. Look at the glow of the screen. Fantastic. So in its A page to start with. Kaboom asks, what are your thoughts about switching between side stick to a yoke? Obviously, the Boeing 787 has a yoke and an Airbus a side stick. It's a total non-event. We all train using a yoke. No one has gone their full career using side sticks. I can't imagine in the civil world of flying. Maybe some. I mean, I know that there are airplanes out there, training aircraft that are now using sticks. Even so, you'd be fine. You'd be absolutely fine. They're both relatively intuitive. There's a couple of drawbacks of each, but yeah, they function in a very similar way. So I think most people would get used to it very quickly. Right, BMA 222, Heathrow to Lyon. Costa next we agreed was. So hopefully now if I jump back, it should be where we were. There we go, look at that. It is just brilliant. The detail they put into this. 42. That's good. 42 is a good number for a Costa next, cruising at 270. Don't need to do that on this airplane. There we go. The Boeing, you have to give it the slash. Oh dear. We already know our departure because we know we're departing from 9 right. I'm actually quite a long way from 9 right. It's going to be a long taxi. We're going out via ModMe. All on our charts, which we checked. As we scroll through, that links up with the rest of the routes. And it's an Airbus, so we can actually put in the arrival if we fancy. Which is a real treat, because on the 787 you absolutely cannot do that. Moo arrival 17 right. Let's just put that in for now. I'll be 17 left. We'll just pick one. We'll make it work later. Yeah, not a problem. So that's the data, init A, flight plan, secondary flight plan. We'll just copy the active. RadNav can be auto-tuned. Init B time. Let's load up some weights. So we jump back to the Fenix app. Mass and balance. It all just flows through. Such a neat little tab, this. Now, is this what was planned? Load aircraft. Let's just do instance. So I expected to do a fuel rate of 55.2, which is up a little bit. And we needed a fuel of 6.7, which is what we've got. So let's see how accurate the Fenix's fuel burn is at the moment. Jinky asks, how come the barking sound is only on the A320? It's just the design of the power transfer unit in the hydraulic system of the A320. It's just where it's located. It is quite loud and it may run under different circumstances. For example, the 787 doesn't use a power transfer unit in the same way. It has backup pumps on each system as opposed to using one system to power another. So that would be one reason. They don't all use power transfer units to power both hydraulics in case of a failure. But there we go. But that's also to do with the long-haul aircraft having to be a bit more redundant and able to carry on even if things fail. Right, so 109 passengers, 2.7 tons of cargo. And there we go. We have the fuel. So what does it mean, send to MCDU? Let's try that out. There it is. Done. Brilliant. Did I load the winds? Let's get the winds in now. We've got the full route. Delta Tango says, happy for you with your long haul move, but still fun to see you back in the bus. Thanks very much. Thanks for coming along. Glad you're enjoying it. If you are enjoying, do please hit the like button. It makes a huge difference to the channel. I know you hear that a lot on YouTube, but it really, really does matter a lot to this channel. So yeah, if you are enjoying, hitting the like if you would be so kind. Thank you so much. Good. Right. So that's diffs init B done. So this is showing us having 1.5 alternate fuel, which is about right. 1 ton final reserve, again, about right. Gives us 300 extra, which is the contingency fuel. Plus we got 200. So we've got about 500 kilos in hand at the moment. Thank you all for those likes. Really appreciate it. I can see them going up there. That's really very, very kind. And 200 for the taxi. It might be a little bit longer. I'll just put 300 in. It makes next to no difference at this point, but there we go. Good. Init B. So finally, performance. Here's where the Fenix really just gets silly with how intuitive it is to use. Don't press that. Yeah. That's what I get for saying that. Go here, 9 right, clearly it's wet. Sync the load sheet, sync the weather. We won't force toga. Anti-ice, what's the temperature outside? 7. I think we're going to get anti-ice on. Won't need the wings. Packs, I'm going to go on. When this aircraft was being operated, I would imagine they would have been left on. And there's our weights. Good. Calculates. And it has a send to MCDU option. So now actually upgraded. Everything's aligning. That's all coming together. Good news. Right, got no shift from 9 right. Flaps 1. Flex 70. 134, 135, 136. Now it should be flex 69. I'm surprised it says 70. I don't think there's any reason for that. But anyway, let's send it to MCDU. Genius. That's a great idea. That is a really good idea because we're not very heavy for takeoff. So these are about the speeds and flaps I'd expect. But yeah, I'm impressed to see that you can just send it over. Not realistic. You can't do that on the A320 aircraft. You do on the 787, but not on the 320. But anyway, there we go. We'll have flight plan there, performance on there. That's all coming together. I'm not on real time, 3 Lost. We are, just to make sure it's daylight, I've changed the time, but it is real weather. And it's horrible weather here. Wysat, thank you so much for your £5 super chat. Really, really appreciate it. Wysat says, have you finally looked into that failed A320 training flight where all the flight control computers have failed? No. I feel terrible. You've asked me that before, and I have not managed to look it up. What happens is I stream, and then I turn off the computer and everything, and I didn't get around to it. It's in my notes to read on that, so I can only apologise. Thank you so much for the super chat. I will look that up. I'm going to write it down again. See what actually happened. I mean, it's such an unusual one, that really amazing. But yeah, thank you for reminding me. I'm so sorry, but thank you very much for the super chat. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the channel. Very, very kind of you. 3 streams now, says Wise Hat. I'm so sorry. I do struggle with time. The time I allocate to the channel and then work and everything and life outside of that, and it's just something that has not made it through. So I'm going to set a reminder on my phone. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it right now because this is silly. Let me just do that. There we go. Done. Right. Next time. I'll have read that for next time. Do you think the MCD will be phased out for something more modern? Asks Ian. No, I don't think so. I think the MCD this is a good way of doing it. The 787 uses effectively the same thing, and the 350 as well, although maybe the 350 is more integrated than even the 787. It is newer after all. But I think it's a good system. I don't know what they'll do to fiddle with it, but I'm sure they'll be thinking about that. Yeah, it's a good question. Could it be changed for an EFB? Problem with the EFBs is battery fires in particular. This has to be, if it catches fire, we can just throw it out the flight deck. You don't really want that to be the main computer for the airplane. But anyway, there we go. Let's take a look at air traffic control. Who is online? We have the ATIS. Ground 121-805. We can't type it in. Oh no.
Onto point Juliet 4 via Juliet.
121-805, which is. Oh no, hold on. I got that wrong. That's Gatwick. EGLL Tower 118-505. This is going to be tedious today. I forgot about this. Accurate though. I'm not a fan of the Airbus's radio management. I think the 78 is much better. And let's take a look at our departure. Let's get our brief done, do the checklist, and then we'll just talk to our traffic control. So we're here. We're going to depart from 9 right. So it means taxiing all the way behind us. It's quite a way to go, but we'll manage that. So we might even do one engine if I can remember how to do that. Let's do single engine taxi. Good luck to me. And then we're going to do the mod me departure. No particular terrain that we need to be concerned about. But we're going to take off 9 right, out 3.5 London, right turn, intercept 206 down to mod me, stopping at 6,000 feet. So I'm going to set that in the window. I do have my mini FCUs up and running. So there we go, 6,000 feet. We've got managed speed, managed nav. Excellent. So we should have the speeds, climb nav, are blue and armed, 152, 6,000 feet. Great. Yeah, like I say, no terrain, 2,100 is the MSA, and that's about it. We're going to go icing on, packs on for the takeoff. So icing on in the after start flow. But we're not going to de-ice. It's not that cold. Which does bring me to the next point, which is you can do the fan blade heating. Something else I talk about in the video, in the ground services. This is all to do with. Let's get the cargo closed up. Yeah, it's all to do with the freezing point outside. But there we go. Right, let's get the APU up and running. Fuel's on. Yeah, fan blade icing. I talk about it a lot in the video. I really recommend watching that. I wonder if we'll see any today. I would not expect it in real life to see it today at 7 degrees. Absolutely not. It's too warm. But yeah, I'll be curious to see. Well, no, because when we set takeoff thrust, it won't let us. The real airplane, you'd actually feel the vibration before you had any actual engine indications. Scott asks, are real EFBs just iPads with proprietary apps, or are they specific Airbus devices? It varies. Some are just iPads, and some are other sort of versions of it. Lorenzo says, it's midway. I've flown on that aircraft once from Turin to Gatwick. If I'm not wrong, it has now been scrapped. Yeah, I think it may have been, actually. Yeah. APU coming online. There's that logo light shining out the beautiful tail. Love the grey. I know it looks incredibly grey on the screens and is not making for a good visual visual stream for you all, but there we go. It's all coming together. I'm notorious on stream for pushing back very late. Let's put terrain on because I love that their terrain display does just work. Although this would definitely be a bit of a weather radar sort of day, so we'll turn that on as well later. Let's put terrain over there. We'll do weather radar on our side later. Right, we'll close the door at the back. APU is online. Let that warm up for a minute, but we can get rid of the GPU. You have to do that in the 7.8.
I'm back now. I'm back from the dead.
Connect tag.
We're vacated right on Alpha. Hello, welcome to the
now that connect tag doesn't seem to work for me. What we can do is get rid of the jetty.
Well, that was interesting.
And speed 938, regression push and start, stand 521.
Ooh, what stand are we on?
938. Hello, stand 521. Push and start approved, face west.
Facing west.
Oh, it's not going to tell us, is it?
Are you doing clearance? 938, firm, face to the west.
What stand is this?
Facing west, and welcome back. Good evening.
Sorry, are you doing clearance? Speedbird 38, 3 Alpha Whiskey.
Hey, firm, I am.
Hello there. We're at stand 326, we're type A320, and we're information Bravo, and we're requesting clearance to Lyon.
336. Everyone's going to Lyon.
3 Alpha Whiskey, you can expect a pre-departure clearance. To the 341, you are clear to land on 9 left.
Break.
341, clear to land, 09 left.
So land from 09 left for people 341.
It's going to be a busy one.
No, actually, left on Alpha, Kilo, Bravo, stand 225.
I might just try and type it in because we can do.
Thank you for this wonderful British weather. Left on Alpha, Kilo, Bravo, stand 225, Scandinavian 60.
I don't think Scandinavia's got better weather.
Ready for push and start for it.
Let's get the AP bleed going.
4 X-ray Echo Golf Romeo Heathrow. Hello, report your stand number.
I'm trying to get used to things like the flight directors not being there because on the Boeing they would be there at this point. It's yeah, it's taking me a while. Can't believe it. Can't believe this doesn't feel natural. Right, status Cat 2 is an op. Ah.
Heathrow Tower, hello, BMA 18.
Well, we don't need that today. There is a real quirk of the Airbus systems where that can happen. A spurious Cat 2 in op message. I can't remember how to fix it now. It's something to do with tuning something in here. Oh, I haven't had to do that for a long time. And we won't worry about it today because we don't need Cat 2 today. Lyon is not the same as Grenoble, but it is relatively nearby. David Bone says, just looking back, I flew on Midway, 17th September 2004, Palmer to Heathrow. Excellent.
United 320, stand 330, information Bravo, in an Airbus A320, requesting clearance to Lyon, please.
Heathrow Tower around stand 534 for it's Google full meal.
4 Golf Romeo, set squawk 7607.
Organ Aviator says, it's probably good that you've partly forgotten the Airbus. It means that part of your memory is now used to the Boeing. Exactly. Especially things that are similar, you have to sort of let go.
341, right on Alpha.
You have to consciously not think about them. Look how good this flight deck looks, though. Oh, breathtaking.
Good evening, Heathrow Tower, stand 509. We are on Airbus A320 with information Bravo, looking for IFR clearance to Lyon as filed. Speedbird 364.
Speedbird 364, hello to you. Expect pre-departure clearance.
Expect pre-departure clearance. Speedway 364.
Heathrow, good evening. Midland 222, stand 336, A320 with QNH 1008. Request clearance for Lyon as well.
Midland 222, Heathrow, hello. Don't have a flight plan for you, my friend.
Okay, sorry, we'll try and fix that.
Right.
What have I done wrong?
Concord 9096, Concord stand 417, request half finish for you, Kennedy. Wait, sorry, scratch that, request push and start.
Spivet 9096, hello. Push and start is approved.
BMA 222. That's
Request push and start for
works.
Echo Golf Romeo.
BMA 222. Okay, should all be there.
Full Golf Romeo, stand 35, question 534, push and start approved, face south.
Push and start approach face
We will
south
try again.
for Echo Golf Romeo.
BMA 829 at stand 543, aircraft type Airbus A320 Neo, ready for push and start.
Yeah, I did pre-file through SimBrief. I thought anyway, 11 o'clock AM. Thank you though. But yeah, that's what I did.
Face south, information Charlie, QNH 1008.
Aaron says, why can't you enter the arrival on the 787 on the ground? It's to do with sequencing. It's so that the airplane, the Boeing could get confused if you were to hit the toga button in the air near the airport, and it might try and make you fly the go-around profile at the other end. So yeah, you don't do it until you're away from your departure, just to help with the sequencing and all sorts. But on the Airbus, it doesn't matter. Doesn't have that problem.
16 degrees, 14 knots.
09 is clear, land 3 Yankee Alpha. 0938, requesting taxi.
Spivet 9.
Anyone pushed back yet around us? No.
Thank you. Left on Yankee, hold November Bravo.
I don't know why the tug doesn't connect either. It's a strange one.
And taxi via Yankee to holding point November Bravo 11.
Ah, it's showing now. Thank you.
We get further taxi.
So 5 Papa Lima, yes, I can do. Probably there's aircraft I can Bravo an Alpha, so you can taxi Alpha, hold a Cobra for now, or I can take you up onto 505.
505 works fine.
Perfect. Taxi Alpha, link 56505.
Alpha, link 56505. 05 Alpha Lima.
Our Speedbird 23 Alpha,
Oh,
ready
dear.
to taxi behind company aircraft. So there's 23 Alpha, thanks. Taxi Alpha, hold at Dasso. Alpha, hold Dasso, Speedbird 23 Alpha.
Midland 222, we've refiled now.
Midland 222, thank you. You're cleared to Lyon, Modme 1 Juliet, Squawk 0214.
Clear to Lyon, Modme 1 Juliet, Squawk 0214, Midland 222.
United 320, 230, request push and start.
Spivet 852, by November Bravo 10, cleared.
02.
Wind 16 degrees, 14 knots.
Clear takeoff, 09 right view, number
0214.
Spivet 938, behind the departing company, 320, line up, promoted over.
Modme 1 Juliet. Done. Right, let's go. And we've done our brief. Let's run that initial checklist. Where's the checklist? Where's the checklist? Documents. Normal checklist. So copy prep is completed. Barrier F 188 set and set. ACARS initialized. Parking brake is on and not sure what's going on with that flap. There we go. It's on and set. Fuel on board. We got our 6.6 tons. Init B is loaded. Flex temp 70. I'm going to change it to 69.
Taxi Bravo for Echo Golf Romeo.
At sea level, it should be 69. You can only go to 70 if you go below sea level, I think. And takeoff speeds are 134, 135, 136. 204 when we're clean. Next we start clearance. So I'm just going to get the airplane ready. So thrust levers are idle. Let's get the beacon on. Put the transponder to auto. I would close the door, of course, but we're going to see if we can hear those PAs. Also, see if those lights automatically dim as we taxi out. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? See what happens. It's not that gloomy, I suppose. So passenger signs are on and auto. Beacon is on. Transponder is auto. And all doors, certainly the exterior ones, are all closed and armed. Passenger signs are indeed on. So we're ready to go. Let's get push start.
829, taxi right, Bravo, hold at Oster.
Taxi via Bravo, hold at Oscar, BMA 829.
Midland 222, stand 336, request push start.
Midland 222, stand 332, push and start approved, face to the west on Bravo.
Push start approved, facing west on Bravo. Midland 222.
Quebec 3 Alpha Whiskey.
West on Bravo, so we're going to push and then face this way. Okay.
3 Alpha Whiskey, stand 326, push and start approved.
Here it comes.
3 Alpha Whiskey.
Good evening, Stephen 79 Tango A320, stand 516 for Charlie, QH 1008 requesting.
Really straining my computer now.
Apologies, I'm not sure what's going on with my rudders. For some reason, they're not having any inputs. I might have to disconnect temporarily.
Oh no.
Okay, no problem.
I've had that trouble many times in this sim, as you've all seen, as we start taxiing. Good. Come on, Tug. You should have been here. It said it was connected. Right, brakes released. And
go for it, thank you.
there we go. We heard the arm doors and cross check. We'll start the clock.
Give it up from Greater 9 right, or Speedbird 938.
How does the wiper affect the rain? Nice. Yeah, that's about as good as it is in the real airplane, which is average. Average. The 7/8 wipers are super, really good. Company message.
8 aircraft A320 Neo stand 328 requesting push and start.
Receive messages. Load sheets. Done that already.
4 Golf Romeo, taxi first right, first left, hold November Bravo 10.
First right, first left, to November.
Oh, we might get that right. We might actually end up on Bravo. Facing west. Imagine that.
Bravo 10.
November Bravo, full exit from now.
It's okay, Stephen 79 Tango A320.
Ish. That has to do. We don't want to push back too far. We're already blocking this poor aeroplane. Right, let's start up. Engine number.
Are you able to push with the United off your right and the company off your left?
Straight there. Stop.
Please repeat for
Brake sets. Disconnect. Tug. And we're going to start up engine number. We would normally start 2 then 1. So we're going to start up number 1. Single engine taxi.
Company 320 in
Pressure, all good. Chrono. Master on. Starting engine number 1. Because then we'll run the yellow pump for the taxi. I'm trying to remember all these things now. You don't tend to taxi out single engine in long haul aircraft because they're too heavy at taxi out stage to do that. See if we can see the engine spool up.
79096, taxi left Sierra, hold Sierra 11.
Look at this transition from start up to running. It's ridiculously good. Look at that acceleration. Love it.
19730, have a great evening.
And the heat blur. They've done a great job with the heat blur.
829, first left, hold at November Bravo 8.
The way it sort of accelerates then goes one way then the other. It's just like it would with the camera. I really like that.
829, left, sorry.
It will. I think the spinner goes grey. That's the only criticism I've got. Definitely one of the best sort of transitions into start and running that I've ever seen. Ah, it's worked this time. Maybe I had a glitch. Excellent. Oh, there you go. They're doing the safety demos. That's up and running. So we go back to norm. Then we're going to go engine 1 anti-ice on. We're going to leave the APU on. We're going to turn the APU bleed off. And we're going to put the yellow pump on. I think that's it. Then we're also going to arm the ground spoilers, reset the rudder trim, set flaps 1.
From November
and set the trim 28.3, which is as ever about where it is. Good. Let's run our checklists, which is not that one. After start, ground equipment is removed, anti-ice engine 1 is on, flaps, config 1% green, and that's what we wanted. APU is on, yellow electric pump is on, trims are 28 and 0, cabin doors armed, ECAM status. Cancel dual pack 2, which is what we expect. Those 3 messages on one engine. So the after check is complete. Let's get ourselves going.
November Bravo 10, Speedbird 33 Alpha.
Midland 222 request taxi.
Papa Whiskey, get clearance to follow the traffic ahead before the speedbird pushes. He hasn't pushed yet, that's all.
Yes, if he's agreed to hold on for you. United 320 request taxi.
I'm not sure what happened there.
United 320, just hold position for now.
Midland 222 request taxi.
Midland 222, taxi Bravo, Charlie, Alpha, hold at Hawker.
Bravo Charlie Alpha, hold at Hawker. Midland 222. Bravo Charlie Alpha to Hawker. Good luck to us. I've had a bit of a bad spell of taxiing on the streams. Taxi, turn offs, definitely what we want. Brakes released. Look at this weather. Pretty typical UK weather, frankly. There's no denying that Scandinavian pilot was correct. Right, brake released. Bit of revving on engine 1. So somebody was asking there, is it accurate that the airplane... Oh, was that for us? It's accurate. With 2 engines running, the IAE will run away during the taxi. It will accelerate continuously and you have to use the brakes. What you have to do is you actually let it accelerate up to about 30ish knots if you're in a straight line, and then just slow it back down to 10 knots and then let it accelerate. That's the best way for the brakes. Minimal number of applications is what we're going for with carbon brakes like you have on the A320 family.
Alpha, any chance we can get 544 is there, Whiskey?
Of course you can.
Superfan says, in real life, do you have a scribble pad to take down ATC instructions? Most people will scribble it down into the scratch pad. So I would have written Bravo, Charlie, Alpha to Hawker. Some people might put a slash in between, but yeah, something like that as a little sort of visual cue. So 14 knots in the wet, bit much for this turn, just slow it down. I love the new brake pedals. I think they're really nice. They've done a great job with those and the way it taxis.
Uniform X-ray clearance from the PDC cockpit, requesting push and start, stand 216.
Oh, bit much. God, weather's getting worse and worse. Can't wait to get up above this. It's all clear over there. So I think once we're heading down on Charlie, we'll just start up the other engine.
Air Canada 869 requesting clearance to Halifax.
It shouldn't be too busy down there. Heathrow should be able to get lots of airplanes out very quickly, I'd have thought.
A text clearance.
So looking for left on Charlie.
869, roger.
Yeah, the tiller is quite sensitive, but so's the real one. My frame rate's struggling a bit for the head tracking.
364, first left, first right, hold at November Bravo 8.
This is Delta, not Delta, we want Charlie, so we're going next left after this one.
Yeah, November Bravo 8.
And hold at November Bravo 8. Speedbird 364.
Speedbird 7, Yankee Tango.
Racing in British Airways.
320, passes right to left, stand number 516, pushes on approved, faces down.
Got quite a queue behind us as well.
20 passes from right to left, stand 516.
Are they taxiing out with us? Although we're getting to Charlie first.
T3 Alpha, just if possible, can you keep November Bravo 8 clear? I'm going to have one intersection departure ahead of you.
A firm holding position, Speedbird 23 Alpha.
Thank you, sir. Speedbird 741, taxi right on Alpha, stand 511.
Right, this is Charlie turning left here, and I just saw Flight Dispatch. I'm so sorry if I missed it. Flight Dispatch very kindly gave us a tip. So let me just turn down here, and I'll read that one out. So this is Charlie.
Golf Papa Bravo, Zulu November, Heathrow, hello. traffic information is a British Airways Airbus
You can actually a 320 a bit faster than the old 787, which is handy. Oh, okay, it shouldn't have ground to a halt there, I wouldn't have thought. But it has been a while since I've driven it.
Tower shuttle white Bravo requesting pushback.
Oh, what's going on here? There we go. Ah, the brakes just locked on, that's why. It's to do with the my mouse controls. Sorry about that, everyone else. Trying to taxi behind me.
After the company passes.
Yeah, Flight Dispatch has very kindly tipped $12.69. Really appreciate it. Flight Dispatch says, great to catch a live stream with you back in the original 320. It's a shame that the BMI livery doesn't show up on VATSIM. That is a shame, yeah. It would be nice if it did. But thank you so much for the very kind tip. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the channel as always. Flight Dispatch has supported us a lot over the years. So yeah, very kind. Thank you for coming along. Thank you for that very kind super chat. And yeah, I agree. It would be nice if this livery could show up. It's quite good we got the BA liveries around us though. Right, let's get the engine up and running. So I'm going to go APU bleed on, yellow electric pump off. And I'm going to put it to ignition start. Then I want to see pressure down here. Now that is accurate. It does take about 8 seconds for that pressure. There it is. So let's turn on Master 1. I have to time that one day, see if it's spot on. I bet it is. And that's starting up engine number 2. And remember, we're going down here and then along to Hawker. We're currently moving down Charlie.
Tower, Speedbird, 57 kilo request clearance to Johannesburg.
It's a shame I can't show you very easily the... I'd love to show you more of the wing view. It's a beautiful, beautiful wing view. But I can't jump to it as easily. Because it's not in the drone view, so it makes it very complex to get to. Fuji2, good to see you. I hope you're doing very well. Thanks for coming along.
British Airways A320 in sight.
787.
Above and behind the
What a beauty.
British Airways Airbus A320. Cross runway 09 left.
I'm going to put the dome light on just so you... Yeah, there we go. You can all see the flight deck a bit better. It's getting so gloomy. Save it as an alt camera view. Ah, okay, that's what I need to do. Right. Alpha now, which is going to be... This is Bravo, so second right. Thank you again, Flight Dispatch, for your very kind super chat. Very kind tip. Really appreciate it. I hope you're doing well.
Got it slightly wrong. Above and behind the British Airways Airbus A320, you can cross 09 left threshold and you can hold...
Right, engine's up and running.
West of Terminal 5.
Let's just do this turn and then sort out the aeroplane. Again, this is where you need 2 of you. I don't know why I decided to single engine taxi out.
528, ready to taxi.
So we're going to stop just here.
Scandinavia 1501, hello, Roger. And go up soon in November. Cancel that clearance, just remain north of runway 09.
I wanted to show you the flight control check as well with the new sort of click spot they've made. So let's bring it to a stop. Brake set. Okay, right. That goes back to norm. Engine anti-ice on. We don't need the bleed. We don't need the APU, and we don't need the yellow pump. Now we can do the flight controls. So I'm going to hit that and the pedal disconnect, and then I can do rudder. Wrong way round. There we go. Left. Right. Neutral. Left. Right. Down. Up. Flight controls are done. Let's get the weather radar, predictive wind shear, TCAS, auto brakes, and I'll do this load sheet thing now. This load sheet thing, someone asked earlier, is this a normal way to get the load sheet? It's a way. It's not what everybody does. Oh, that was the prelim anyway. That was the acceptance. Good.
Right, Bravo, hold us there, Lufthansa to uniform X.
Right, we are waiting on the cabin. First left to November, Bravo 8, Midland 222.
Speedbird 852, just confirming you can see me on radar now.
So we are at Hawker.
speed, bird 852.
Oh, there we go. We can see us on this one. So first left. So we're going to go there.
Stand again, so I came here. I saw there was no traffic. If that's right.
Yeah, no, Jonathan.
Brakes released. Now, why isn't the cabin ready? I wonder why. Let's close the door.
Requesting taxi.
Stand by, please. I'll call you back. Break. Golf Zulu November. Traffic information. British Airways.
We already know that sim.
Who is on?
So yeah, pretty cool that you can now do the flight control checks. If I hit that one now, it does do the disconnect. Really good. Nice feature that.
Alpha Scandinavian 1501.
135 plus 5, what does that mean? That means 135 adults and then 5 babies or infants. That's what that's saying. Yeah, good question. And then you have to add the crew on top of that. Right, let's get the checklist done.
Above and behind the British Airways 787.
For takeoff checklist, flight controls are checked, TCAS is T. Alright, there was the cabin crew seats for takeoff. And then now, we can hear them. Very cool. So we're going to stop here. Right, so cabin is secure and it's come through on there. They wouldn't have to call you because we've got the cabin ready memo option here. But I can see that that's there in case you didn't have that option selected in the EFB. Right. Flight controls check, TCAS TRA, departure brief confirmed, takeoff data and FMA. 09 right, Modern 1 Juliet, 6,000 feet. We got our speeds loaded. Flaps, config, 1 plus F. ECAM memo, takeoff. No blue. Next is below line. I'm going to do it now. In anticipation, there's no one landing. We're not landing anyone. Lights are on. Engine anti-ice on. Packs are on. So, takeoff runway. 09 right. Strobes are on. Packs are on. Forward takeoff. Checks complete. Dear, the controller's having a bit of a day. I can move forwards up to the line, give them a bit of room. This is just dropping and dropping and dropping. Line up 9 right, Midland 222. Controller's doing a fantastic job in what has got to be one of the hardest controlling positions in the country. Doing ground at Heathrow is very difficult, plus tower, amazing. Right, our checklist is complete. Cabin's ready. Skill on approach. Skill on the left. We are getting ready to go.
Roger, right now for Charlie, stand flight for 1. Cheers, see you at 250.
Love the lighting. This is going to be a wiper on scenario though, that's for sure. Love the noise they've got for that. It's spot on.
320, hold at November Bravo 8.
United 320, hold at November Bravo 8.
Shuttle Lane Bravo request 6756, 609 with PDC, request push and start.
Right, there we go. Thank you all so much for watching. Do please leave a like if you are enjoying it. It's taken us an hour to get to the takeoff threshold, but that's not bad considering how busy Heathrow's been.
Requesting taxi.
Golf Zulu November, traffic information is at Midland, rolling 09 right.
Traffic inside Golf Zulu November.
Midland 222, traffic information is a helicopter west at Terminal 5, runway 09 right, surface wind 16 degrees 14 knots, go takeoff.
Go takeoff, 09 right, Midland 222, thank you, that's copied. No problem, they don't affect us behind us, they won't affect our TCAS below 1000. Start the clock, here we go. 50%, release the brakes, 2 clicks, love the noise. Man, Flex 69, SRS runway, order thrust blue. I've removed the rudder damping, which I definitely prefer. Oh, it's windy. 100 knots, stick to neutral.
Alpha hold down to Shuttle Light Bravo.
Waiting for the automatic V1 rotate call, but it's not doing it. V1, rotate. Nose up, let it weathercock. A lot of lag there, but there we go, we're up and away. Positive climb. Gear up. Nav. My PFD is really lagging. As soon as we're in the air, let's get rid of that wiper. It's just noisy and distracting. Now we can hear the rain. And we're away. That's a windy takeoff.
Lufthansa to Uniform X-ray, shall we continue?
Yeah, apologies. Continue Bravo, hold up, officer.
No worries, thanks. We'll continue to Oster, Lufthansa to Uniform X-ray.
Good 852, clear takeoff, 9 right, within 16 degrees, 1 up.
Right, back one click. Thrust climb, climb auto thrust. Let's get an autopilot in. We have to change frequencies in a minute. I'll go weather radar on here. Flaps up. Now we can disarm those. Goodness me, I'm trying to do my best here. And those can go. Why is my screen's lagging so much? That's a bit of a shame.
Survey 4136, frame.
Let's see if we get gears up, flaps are up, and we're underway. Let's try and get above this weather. Look at the volumetric lights now. That's awesome. That's another new feature. Awesome. They look great. I haven't seen those before.
November traffic information for British Airways over A320 departing Dublin to an IMAX.
Pilot boy asks, why not use the wing anti-ice as liberally as the engine? It's because the engines can pick up ice more easily. They suck in air, so there's a low pressure on the entrance. So they pick it up more quickly, but also it's more dangerous to have ice affecting the engines. The wing ice, airplane can fly with a bit of ice on the wings usually, as long as it's on the leading edge where it's supposed to be. That does not apply to wing on ice on top of the wing, but that's usually happens on the ground. But yeah, so the wing anti-ice is a lot more performance draw. It only does the outboard 3 slats anyway, and it's quite a rare thing to pick up. Engine anti-ice you can pick up quite easily on the ground or in humid conditions, and it's obviously very dangerous to have that happen because we don't want to lose engine performance at takeoff. Love that PA to mount credit cards. That should be down, ready? So what we would do now is we'd look for ice. Do we have any ice? And you can look up here, check for ice, look at the wing. But again, it only does the outboard 3 slats. The airplane just doesn't, these modern jet airlines don't pick up too much ice, generally. They can do, but it's quite exceptional. Blue Blazer, thanks so much for the 17 New Zealand dollars. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Blue Blazer says, great to have the IAEs for my local Air New Zealand flight simming. Your channel and podcast have been great inspiration for my PPL. Currently at wing drop stalls in the Tomahawk. Excellent. I learnt on the Tomahawk. Brilliant airplane. Enjoy that. And yeah, thank you so much for your very, very kind super chat. Really appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the channel, and glad to hear you've enjoyed the channel and the podcast. The podcast is not cancelled forever. I just haven't had a chance to get around to it. Lots of videos and streams to do, but yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. If you have watched the takeoff and enjoyed, do please leave a like. It makes a huge, huge, huge difference to the channel. Can't stress that enough. And I hope you enjoyed that windy takeoff. That was more than I bargained for there. Oh, going to get a nice view here. I think as we climb up, this is going to look really pretty. We're even sooner. Look at this. Wow. That's cool.
Golf Alpha Tango 1492.
Very cool. Jinky, good to see you. Thanks for coming along, and we'll see you next time. Sorry it's so late. CJ says transition. Indeed, 6,000 feet is not the transition altitude. It's just flashing because it's sensing us going 10 feet above it. Look at that view. Wow. Now, I would like to climb. We don't have all the extra fuel in the world today, especially after that taxi. I don't think we are on tower, so I might just see who would we go to next. We should go to approach, really. 11973. I'm going to get that ready.
Give it 2 Echo, taxi on Alpha, stand 514.
I hope the weather's nice down in Lyon. This is essentially a ski charter, by the way. Taking people skiing.
Left Bravo, hold on.
This is amazing weather
What
effects.
do we hold on again? 528?
Hold up, Vickers, please.
Hold up, Vickers. 528.
9320, grade takeoff, turn on right, surface with 16 degrees, 1 full knots.
Grip takeoff from my 09 right, United 320.
Chalet Bravo, contact depot director 11973.
There we go. In the gloom. I'll just give him a little prompt. I don't think we missed a call, but we may have done.
I think that was Sugar 3 Alpha Whiskey, you want us at November Bravo, yeah?
Hey,
Roger, thanks.
492, hello, continue approach for 09 left. Vivid 581 X-ray, hello, continue approach for 09 left.
Total Kite says I'll be flying in a 787 with Japan Airlines in 2 days. Excellent, enjoy. Beautiful aeroplane. Enjoy the air, humid air of the 78 and the low cabin altitude and the big windows. Love it, love it. And the way it rides turbulence, just super.
09 left, got Alpha Tango.
Postman 6756 plus factory.
This can happen in the real life as well. If it's in busy airspace, sometimes you just get stuck at a low level and there's not much you can do really. You can't just keep interfering with air traffic control, but yeah. The airplane flight plan would have had fuel to maintain 6,000 until mod me, but now we're off the departure, it would expect me to start climbing. So we are now overburning, eating into that contingency fuel, and you'll see that as our extra fuel starts to drop if we stay here, because we're burning what, over 2 tons an hour, but we're going very slowly. Midland 222, we're still with you. Would you like us on Unicom?
Apologies, where are you?
Just over Midhurst.
Yeah, that's my bad. Monitor Unicom, see you later.
Roger Unicom, thanks so much for your help, it's been fantastic. Thank you, Midland 222. Right, yeah, we're too far out for director, that's fine. Excellent work by that controller, doing a fantastic job. I only knew it was Unicom because of you lot telling me, so thank you for that. And we're going up to, we agreed 270, didn't we? I can just check that on the progress page. I do remember some things. 270, put that in my little CDU, FCU I should say. And there it's just come open climb. Let's set standards. And that's out blue 270. No one above us. This is set to above. Looking good. And we're underway. So, after takeoff checklist, landing gear is up. ECAM is checked. No messages at all. So that Cat 2 thing did clear. And the barrier F is on standard. That's the after takeoff climb checklist complete. Next to the approach checklist. Let's go back to our charts. In fact, we can look at the Lyon charts. Oh, I should have put it into aeroplane. And there is a landing performance calculator here as well, which is very rare. So I like it. Very good. Very good. So now we're going to roar up, get above this horrible weather, and we can let the passengers out. Really cool cloud effects tonight. The cabin views, this is not the default 320, this is the Fenix Simulations A320. You go to Cockpit, and then they're in the here. I like that it does save it, to be fair. That is helping me a lot here. Those volumetric lights, just gorgeous, gorgeous. I did post a short yesterday of the of a landing, an auto land in the Fenix, just to show how good the graphics are on it. Fantastic. Yeah, really brilliant. Look at those landing lights beaming down in front. Thank you, Dougal. Yes, my microphone muted there. Now, I was answering a question. So, somebody asked, let me see, what do you fly now, not 320, and do you miss the tray table? I fly the Boeing 787. Yes, I do miss the tray table. Nice, easy question, that one. Igloo Fruit asked, that reminds me, I noticed your mini FCU video was on the page to order mine. So, you're very welcome, Igloo Fruit. Glad you enjoyed it. And yeah, it does work indeed with the 787. What else have we got? Captain Wazza, thanks for coming along and moderating. And indeed, I totally agree. Volumetric lighting is done very well in Microsoft Flight Simulator. We might find ourselves 270 is a bit low. We might get stuck here for the rest of the flight. We might get stuck in the cloud. Igloo is classic a square of pilot bingo. Indeed. No, I feel like we pushed back relatively early though. I don't think I should get penalised for the over hour until airborne. But then I could have predicted that, and I was sort of, for some reason in my head, we would take off westerly, so I thought I was choosing a stand near the runway. that backfired a bit. Electrox says, would you have rather gone to the 350 if it was possible? No. I wanted to fly a Boeing. I would have loved to fly a 350, and I still would, but I wanted to fly a Boeing. I think it's a real privilege if you get the opportunity to fly both an Airbus and a Boeing and really have a lot of people talk about which they prefer, but how can you really say unless you've flown both? That's the way I see it. So I was really excited to fly a Boeing. And there are some things I prefer. Mostly the Airbusy things about the Airbus I really like. I like the tray table. I like the side stick. I like the FCU is absolute. I said this a million times. It's genius. It's such a masterclass of ergonomics and in clever design. So good. So simple. I love it. I love it. I love it. I prefer it to the Boeing mode control panel, and that's still true now. It might change in future, but for now that's the case. However, the 787 is a remarkable aeroplane. It's so comfortable. The air is amazing. The way it rides turbulence is phenomenal. The way it lands is a dream. It's such a nice airplane. It really responds to you. It really feels alive. It's not... It's... I know this is what you'd expect everyone to say about Boeing, but it does feel like a pilot's airplane, the 787. It's fast. It goes so high so quickly, and it has a high approach speed, so it does feel like a live, responsive airliner. Or it doesn't feel like an airliner. It feels like it's just a normal airplane. You know, I really like it. The 787 doesn't have auto trim in the traditional Airbus sense, but it does have a trim that will... It's called... what's it called? Trim reference. Basically, if you're within 5 knots of your target speed on here and you blip the trimmer, it will just trim to that speed. So it does have that. Trimming is something that's sort of... It's a little bit like a manual car. You start to do it without thinking. It's nice when you don't have to, but you can do it. Yeah, Ian, I agree. The FCU and the Airbus is brilliant, and it is simple, yeah. And the HUD, yeah, I do, that's true. Yeah, HUD in the 7.8 is brilliant. Mike, you're very welcome to sit and watch. I do appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. Justin Mercer says, hi, is Phoenix V2 an update or new purchase of the 320? This is an update to the original Phoenix. So if you own the Fenix Simulations A320, you get this IAE update and the Block 2 included. Yeah, we might be stuck in cloud here. It's a bit unusual for this channel, but that's the reality. Let's have a look. It's not a long flight. We're only planned at 270. Ultim 37, max 398. I'm gonna go up to 37. It won't penalise our fuel to go higher. If anything, it should save it. 2.2 extra. And now, there's another thing the Airbus does, the Boeing doesn't. It automatically updates that cruise level. The Boeing wouldn't. Which blows my mind that it wouldn't do that, and you have to do it yourself. Anyway, it's nice and smooth. Let's let the passengers out. If we check the camera. Yep, seatbelt signs are out. How brilliant is that? That's great. Ah, we're getting to the top. That's good. You don't want to sit in the tops of clouds. You either want to be in the middle of them, if they're not too big and thunderous, if they're just normal sort of stratus. But you don't want to be in the top of stratus cloud. Terrible, very bumpy, very icy. And that's the same with cumulus cloud. And obviously you don't want to be anywhere near thunderstorms. But yeah, if you're near the tops, either go, well, ideally you'll just get above them. Everyone wants to get above the tops. So it's a common thing you'll hear on the radio. Are you, people will say, oh, I'm just sitting in the tops here, that sort of thing. I want to get out of it. I want to climb. Flight Dispatch 320, thank you again for your tip earlier. Says, Cosnex 99 to catch up after busy Heathrow. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. It was not going to be much difference on a short flight, but if we go init, Cosnex, up that climb speed. Let's try 80. Want a little bit of margin on the red tape. Simply Tom says, if you update the cruise level and an alt intervene on the 737, it updates the cruise page from my understanding, unless that's only once you've reached your original cruise level. Yeah, Simply Tom, yeah, that's it. But my point is, I suppose, just that in the Airbus, as soon as you enter a higher flight level into here, it recognises that that's going to be the new cruise level, unlike having to alt intervene on the 78. I did not know that there was a meet and greet at Heathrow on Saturday. Weather radar doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot, to be honest with you. I'd love to show you the weather radar, but there's no... let's tilt it. No, it's not really there. Sorry. I wish I could. But it's a little bit... display purposes only sort of thing. Dave says, Boeing does update cruise level if you press out intervention, doesn't it? Yeah, exactly. Musa asks, what PC spec? I have i7 10700K, which is old now, and an RTX 3080, 32GB of RAM. Aaron says the 787 has quite a flat approach angle. That really surprised me. Yes, the reason for that is the 787 comes storming in at very high approach speeds. It's a Cat D aircraft. So yeah, it comes in fast with a low nose, and you only flare it a little bit. That pays off for Boeing because the downside is it's obviously more brake energy, higher approach speeds, more runway needed. Plus side is... you can extend the airplane, you can make it longer, so the 787-10 is longer with a less risk of a tail strike, because obviously with a relatively flat landing angle, the tail doesn't get too close to the ground. I'm sure that I highly doubt that was the reason they did it like that, but that's where it is. I also think the 787 has a very fast wing. It's an amazing wing, but it's not so good at being slow, and the flaps are quite small in order to be more efficient. So I think all of these things combined, it's designed to be cruising around high and fast. Long range aeroplane. Lorenzo says, could you explain when to turn on off the fasten seatbelt sign? I always struggle to understand when to do it, apart from on below flight level 100. Well, that's pretty much it. Most airlines will do on below flight level 100. The reason I left them on longer there was because we were in cloud, likely to be bumpy. You might leave them a bit longer. Lots of pilots will reach 10,000 feet and then decide from there, do we want to turn them off or not? And it's not uncommon, I'd say maybe a quarter of the time to leave them on if you see some weather up ahead, if it's windy, lots of reasons. But yeah. Superfan says, time to get hardware HUD for this in. Now that would be good. That would be good. Leon says, as you do so many flights in real life, do they all blend into one? Because whenever I ask an in real life pilot, they don't remember their last flight. That's a fair observation. It's not that they blend into one. Like, you'll remember bits about each one, but I suppose they do in a way. You'll remember like the approach or something, but especially now on long haul, certainly, you know, the cruise, I've crossed the Atlantic many times, and I say many, obviously that's very relative. For me, it's a lot, having never done it before in my life. But yeah, I couldn't really tell you different crossings apart unless something really unusual happened, and even then I'd probably struggle to remember which flight it was. And plus the fact that you're out of your body clock and so on, you can't tell what day it is half the time, let alone remember many other details. So yeah, I mean, if you ask me on one of my days off, oh, where were you last on your last trip? Where did you go? I would probably have to think for a few seconds and go, where was I? And then then it will come to you. So yeah, there is a bit of that, definitely. And it was true on short haul as well. A little less tired on short haul though. Hello Eddie, good to see you. Trouble Demon says, I was seeing a video talking about how the 787-10 wing is the same as the 8 or so, and as a result had worse distance compared to the other planes. Yeah, that's very common. That's very, very common. So the 321 has a worse range than the 319 because it has the same wing. So there's a heavier loading on the wing, so it burns through its fuel quicker. However, they've got around that these days with more efficient engines and extra fuel tanks and so on, and now you have the 321 Neo long range and all that. So that's not, you know, they can fiddle with it if they need to. So yeah, the 787-10 I think has the lower range of the three. The 787-9 having the longest, I believe. But yeah, that's it. It's common though. The 320, 19, 20, 21 all have the same wing, and the 7-8 family all share a wing. The 777, 200 and 300 don't share a wing. I think the 330, 200 and 300 do. You know, it depends. It depends. Ian says the 787 is just a stunner, sleek, best looking commercial aircraft for me. Agreed. I'll agree with that. Lucy says, what about the 777X? Is it better than 787? Is it also full electrical like 787? I don't think it is. I think it has a lot of new systems, but I still think the 777X uses bleed air for the engines and hydraulic brakes, things like that. The bigger, sort of clunkier systems are still the same. It's just that new, it has got a new wing though. So I might be wrong on that. A few of those wing features might be electric. And Crit says, do you come across many FOs who began their careers post 30? Not, yes, yeah, post 30, yeah, definitely. Meet plenty of pilots who've done other careers. Here we go, finally reaching 370. It's really running out of puff at this Costin X. In fact, with that new Costin X, Optimum is still 37. Okay, should be fine. ETP coming up quickly. Won't be long until we start our descent, everyone. So, yeah, there's our little down arrow. It's only 160 miles, so as soon as we're in the cruise, I need to get going. So I can't stay chatting for too long. Apologies for that. Ah, 11 Clark M says, that was horrendous. I was a second aircraft behind you, but I've only just taken off. You're nearly there. Yeah, well, that's why I chose a nice short flight. How far out do you plan for the descent, says Davo? You start planning it, well, it's about half an hour from top of descent. So an hour from landing, you really want to have your briefing, your numbers sort of getting squared away and so on. About half an hour from landing is when you start your descent. In terms of distance, it's 3 times your altitude. So, you know, 120 miles out, you want to start your descent. In the Airbus, this is. 7.8's a bit further because it just doesn't descend. It's just a glider. I've never seen an airplane like it. Dave says it will probably have to have the same bleed system as the old 777. Can't really put the same pressure and moisture on an aluminium frame as you can a composite frame. There we go. That sounds reasonable to me, Dave. Yep. The Ranger says, do you prefer long or short haul? I like both, and I haven't got a preference right now. Very, 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 very different. And that's something I'm getting used to. The TCAS does work on the Phoenix, I believe. Trouble Damon, thank you so much for your $10 Canadian super chat. Really, really appreciate it. It's very, very kind of you. Trouble Damon says, a coffee on me. Thank you so much. I will do that indeed. Really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the channel, and thank you for coming along and chatting today. Really glad you're enjoying it. And thank you. I will have a lovely coffee on you. Really, very kind. And the coffee is certainly something I'll need next time I'm at work, I'm sure. But yeah, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Very kind. And thank you everyone watching along. And yeah, as I said earlier, if you are enjoying, do please leave a like. It makes a big, big difference. Big, big difference to the channel. Thank you again, Trouble Demon. Very kind. Moses says, can the 787 go full toga even if they never do it? Always derate. Of course it can. Yeah. It'll be fine to do that. There is some circumstances which I talk about in my takeoff tutorial video, my detailed takeoff tutorial, where you can't. You go full power. It's the first airplane I've flown where that's been the case. There's Mach Canal Cruise. The 787 performance numbers are calculated as such that if you add too much extra power suddenly, you're at risk of destabilizing it laterally, i.e. it doesn't have enough rudder authority to fix it. Now that's usually only going to happen on the ground for a very short period of time. But yeah, anyway, in theory, that is a possibility. Alright, put the TCAS to below. Do a little systems check. I remember this. Thank you so much, Alex Steinberg, for the 100 Swedish krona. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much. A little pair, a little fan pair. Thank you. Thank you, Alex. Very kind. I hope you're doing well. And thank you for supporting the channel. And thank you for joining us today. Systems all look good on the airplane. So that's it. We made it up into the cruise. There's our contrails. Roaring along. Mid-wide doing what it does best. Sitting in the cruise, taking people on holiday. Forty says, do you miss a side stick now you move to Boeing? No, I don't mind. I like the side stick. I think, you know, it just doesn't take up too much room. It's the main reason. It's nice to have it out the way. But the yoke is fine. It's fine. You get used to it pretty quickly, in fact. Which says, so it means that the engine is very much powerful for the plane. Overrated. It's not overrated, but yeah, the 787 engine is powerful. The Rolls-Royce Trent 1000 and the GE9 they're just powerful engines. It's just not used all the time. It's just a clever derate system to make them last as long as possible and use as little fuel and oil as possible. Alex, thanks so much for another super chat. Really very kind. Alex says, you're such a great YouTuber, man. Always a pleasure watching you fly. Haven't been at the sim for 2 years, kids, etc. But I'm watching all your vids, trying to keep up. Thanks, man. Legend. Alex, that's so kind. So glad to hear that you're enjoying the videos. It's messages like that you know, that really help keep me motivated. So that's so kind. And yeah, I hope your kids are doing well and you're having a good time with them. And you know, Flight Sim will be there for you when you get the time later on. But I'm glad the videos are there in the meantime to sort of keep you fixed up with some aviation content. So yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you for the super chats and supporting the channel and those kind words. Thermosphere, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Really very kind. Thermosphere says, hope you're doing well. Love the channel. Thermosphere, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for supporting us and coming along. And now I can react, can't I? Which is a new thing. Let me do that. Sorry if I've missed any reactions to super chats. That's a new feature. It doesn't work in my streaming software. I have to go into the YouTube itself. But there we go. Thank you so much for those. Really, really very kind. So yeah, thank you, Thermosphere, and Ian as well. Thank you, Ian Clegg, for the £5 with a 1. Really appreciate it. That's very kind. Thank you, Ian. Hope you're doing very well. Thank you for supporting the channel and joining us today. Really very kind of you as well. It's yeah, really, really appreciated. And thanks for chatting along. I'm glad you're enjoying the stream. It's been a little while, so yeah, I was really looking forward to getting back in the air with you all. See, there's Thermosphere. Thank you again, Thermosphere. And thank you again, Ian, for your very kind super chats. Let me try and get the right YouTube. There we go. Right. She says, speaking of contrails, a friend of mine working as ATC some days ago casually asked the pilot on frequency about chemtrails. Did they? Excellent. 11 Clark M says, do airlines run 320s with different engine choices, and if so, are pilots allowed to fly both with the usual type rating, or do they need extra training? No, there'll be some training. They'll need to know the differences between the engines. It will literally be like a PDF document or a presentation, and that'll be it. Yeah, you can absolutely fly the different engines on the same rating. There's very, very limited differences, especially for the key maneuvers. You know, like go around and other things like that. I don't know if I'll get the chance to fly 777X. I hope to. There's no airplane I wouldn't like to fly. But yeah, I don't know if I'll get the chance. Glad you're enjoying it, Eddie. Alex says, what routes do you fly? Any chance of getting you as my pilot? I'm flying a lot based in Sweden. Alex, I'm afraid these days it's unlikely because I'm long haul now, so I don't spend much time around Sweden. Yeah. But yeah, still, you never know. It's always possible. Flight Dispatch says, are you looking forward to the Sharklets? I am indeed. I'm sure everyone is. Yeah, it would be good. I like the look of the Sharklets on the Airbus, but I do like this classic look as well. I do fly the Horizon on the channel, and I will fly the Kuro. We haven't done the Kuro yet, but I will do it. I agree, Scotty. I think they're great. I think they're great. I want to see a 757X, yes. I would like to, you know, I've spent... a lot of people think that the reason I went on the 787 was to get as close to the 757 as I could in the modern era. Right, anyway, let's get ourselves ready. There's no controller. That's not a surprise. Let's just have a look at the weather. Phoenix to the rescue. There's no ATIS. So they're currently... For some reason in my head we were going to Sweden there. I don't know why, after we've been talking about it so much. Good. So Lyon is at 130.05. 7 degrees Celsius. Pretty cold. Nice winds though. 1014 QNH. Broken at 3/8. So sort of southerly breeze. Let's bring up the charts. Lyon. There it is. So 130. We're going to land on 17. Probably 17 left. I think that's what Lyon would do on a day like this. I think it'd be left and then take off on the right. It's a common sort of configuration if you've got two runways like this, is to land on the outer one, take off on the inner one. Just in case a controller springs to life just as we land, I'll have the parking stands ready, because I've fallen for that one before. Let's get the arrival charts. Thank you all for those likes. Really, really appreciate that. We've done really well there. Almost 300 likes. So thank you. Very, very kind. Leon says, I keep on thinking you're talking to me. Yeah, I can see why. Josh says... Josh says, British Airways is the only airline that turned on the seatbelt sign on and off right before entering the runway to take off. That procedure is varied. So every airline has its own policy on when they what chimes, or whether they want the seatbelts on and off. So it varies between every airline. I'm sure many share a policy just because there's only a few things you can really do, and it will depend on the airplane as well. Airbuses have one way, Boeing's have another. So yeah, I don't know the answer to that question. Right, let's get our route back. Operational flight plan. There it is. So Mu 17 right, but I think we're going to land on the left, as discussed. So Mu. Thank goodness, because I haven't updated the Fenix charts. I just realised that. There it is. So we're coming in via Mu to Tada. INS 17 left. ECMEP. And the initial approach goes from Tada to ECMEP. So let's see if we can piece that puzzle together in here. As you can see, it hasn't worked. We have that big gap because I have not completed the jigsaw puzzle. So Moulin via Tada. See if that works. No, that has not worked. Because we want the via Roa. See if we can make that work. It's not always so easy to do this. We need the transition. But there isn't one. Let's just change the arrival rounds. Let's do something completely different and insert, and then put it in. So ILS 17 left. Here we go. Right, which one are we doing? For 17 should be the Mu 7 Sierra. I keep saying Mu. I'm sure that's not what it's called, but yeah. Well, we don't have that, but I think it'll be the 5 Sierra. There's no transition. The via. Ta-da, that'll do. How does that link up? Yes, it does. There we go. And that just sends us on a vector from Tada. Which is not quite right. It should actually link up. That's because I have an old database, so I should have updated it. But then we'll just take it to ECMEP and in. Perfect. I say perfect. I think I've proven that isn't. Thank you for those likes. We're over 300. That's amazing. Really, really appreciate it. Vuti2, thank you so much. Vuti has very kindly super chatted £10. Sorry, my notifications on the stream are a little bit behind when they're coming through. Vuti2 says, fantastic stream as always. By the way, my bank manager would like a word sometime. I use your streams in Microsoft Flight Simulator as the excuse for the major hardware upgrade. Hi, you have a new computer, Vuti. Excellent. Or maybe new sim gear. But enjoy that. And yeah, I apologise for my influence in that. But yeah, glad you found some fun. I'm sure you have a fun time simming with that anyway. And thank you so much for supporting the channel. Really, really appreciate it. Very kind. And thank you for coming along and chatting as always with us. Always good to see you here, Vuti. Really appreciate it. Tamango says, can you still butter the A320? I highly doubt that. Highly doubt that. Yeah, so here's a question. Can someone clarify to me? I've, in sim settings, turned on SDS. I set the joystick settings as Fenix recommended. So should I have SDS on or off? I thought I had this all squared away. So I'm hoping you can enlighten me. Because in their quick release, SDS are handling. Our new recommended sensitivity is as such. This recommendation for both with and without SDS. So what does SDS do? I've done some landings without it. Dampening. I might go without it. Because their blog post says that those curves are for with and without SDS. I turned off the rudder dampening. So... Because although the real side stick is heavy, it's not... there is some dampening in it, but you can still move it quite quickly if you want to. So I don't want to artificially dampen it. I just want to move it like I'd move the real one. So I might just leave it alone. People prefer it a lot. Okay, that's something I'll try. I don't know. Maybe I'll try. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to turn it on, and then we'll have a play in the descent. Take out the autopilot a bit. Anyway, we've got the arrival. I'm going to go terrain because we know the weather radar's not really doing a whole lot for us. And then put it back to arc. So let's go to our charts. And we've talked through the route that we're taking. So it makes sense, really. Move on, then along, then out via Tala. Puts on the initial approach, although we know this isn't what we're going to do. We're actually going to sail past here. So we need to get ourselves over to Ekmep, which is the start of the ILS. Airfield is at an elevation of 800 feet, so a little higher up. So expecting the radar a bit earlier, about 3,300 feet should come to life. There's plenty of terrain around, but it's not quite where we're going to be. So we won't be descending below any terrain issues until we're getting close enough to the airport that it's not an issue. But if we get totally lost, we're going to climb to 6,000 feet to get clear of it. We're going to then descend down a normal 3-degree ILS, which is what we have here. Minima of 980. So let's put in some of that destination data. There it is. It's asking, it's complaining to us. QNH 1014. Temperature 7. Somehow it's got the winds, but that's not quite what we've been told. 130.5. And we're going with minima of ILS 980. Barrow. Configuration full for landing, and if we go around, climb straight ahead to 5,000 feet. Expect radar vectors. It's nice and simple. Sort of go around we like. By the way, they changed the MCDU, so this is now more responsive, and you can feel it. It's super. Oh, I missed this page. I miss this page a lot. Oh, beautiful. You don't get that on the 7.8, and it really upsets me. I'm always looking for this page. Something I really appreciate. Just having that distance to the threshold is so useful for my awareness of energy state of the aircraft without having to sort of start doing too many calculations. Ice not detected. Yes, we are too high for icing. It's below -40 static. Should have turned that off. So there we go. Company message. No ADC for Midland Ops. Excellent. Good. How are we doing with fuel? 2.3 on arrival, so we've not lost any extra fuel. Got the threshold on there. So now we do a little hat. So we've done that. Let's check this. LSS 1091. Should be the LSS 1091. Course 174. And is it 0 DME at the threshold? 1 mile out. 0.7. So yeah, about 0.3 out. Not too bad. So relatively reasonable. Progress page we've put in. Performance we've done. What's the descent speeds actually? Let's just check those. It's going to descend at 340, not 79. That's no good. Let's do 78, 320. There we go. Fuel, plenty. Secondary, just copy it active, and then we can adjust it if we need to. Looking good. Top of descent coming up. It's an Airbus, so we do have to start that ourselves. Finally, we should do a landing performance. It's not the longest runway in the world. Bougie2 says the feature in prog page is brilliant. Use it for top of descent, waypoint, and distance to threshold. Yeah, me too. I love it. And it's such a shame we don't have an equivalent on the 7.8. I mean, there are ways to do it, I'm sure, but it's not quite as simple. I need to experiment with that, see if I can find a way of doing it. I'm sure there's a way to get something similar. Anyway. It's not a short runway. I mean, 2,600 meters. Easily a flat full low water brake candidate. Let's go on here. LFL 17. We're landing on the left. Just in case it's raining there as well. We'll do good. Apply the meter. So good. Landing weight. We're currently at 59.2. Let's just put 59 tons in. Low water brake. Idle. Reverse. Auto thrust on. Flat full landing. Manual landing. 2,000 meters. About what you'd expect. So factor 2,300. That's the standard sort of Airbus distance. 2,000, 2,300 factored. Right, we're still not getting any traffic on the display. Yeah. So it should be no one beneath us. $11 AM says definitely keep it on. In fairness, it's probably not a good idea to turn it on right before landing. No. Well, I haven't landed this Phoenix without it yet. I was practicing landing earlier and I had the SDS off. Because I think it was off by default. So I'm going to say this is default. So yeah, I didn't like the rudder dampening. So I'm just wondering, but we shall see. So what does it stand for? SDS, side stick dampening system? Sensitivity? I wonder. Vucci, I'm not aware of any upgrades to the 787 flight models for now, I'm afraid. No first officer, I'm afraid. She's not joined us today. She was very vocal in some of my latest videos, but yeah, she's not here with us right now. She's outside snoozing or cruising around the house. Ryan, good day to you. Thanks for coming along. George Lumpkin, good to see you. George says, evening all. Glad I caught you. Just checked into this week's hotel for work. How's the flight been so far? All good so far. Thank you very much. We're going to experiment with the new landing physics. See how this airplane feels. Oh yes, let's enjoy that new visual model a little bit. What it blows my mind is the ripples in the metal around the rivets and so on. The detail is insane. When they released the publicity shots of this, I thought it was a photo. I really genuinely did get confused as to whether they'd just taken a photo. Ah, it's ridiculous. So good. We're going to miss our top of descent while I do this photo shoot, as always. But that's good. We can practice disconnecting the autopilot to get the full speed brake if we need it. See the way you can see the ripples in the spars and where the rivet lines are. It's just breathtaking. Look at the wing. Look at the grime and detail there. It's such a clever use of not only textures, but it's stuff that I don't understand, PBR and all this stuff. It's so well done and put together. Unbelievable. It's just a level we've not seen. Here we go again. I think I show it in my video where I go up close to the engine and you can see the rippling in the metal where the rivets are. How they put that into it, I don't know. And how you can get so close to this and it just looks better and better. These streaks, by the way, you can see are usually caused by de-icing fluid, old de-icing fluid. That's when the airplanes get that telltale sign. And it does take a few flights for it to come off. A few flights through rain. I think it's on the engine cowl, so it's not even the metal. There you go. Brilliant. Just brilliant. Amazing. Oh, well, I think I made my thoughts on that pretty clear. Right, missed the top of descent. We'll do our usual. We'll go down to 100, which we know is safe. And then I'm going to do pull, thrust idle, open descent. We are high, straight away high. If we go to progress, it will tell us 6,000 feet high. Yes, excellent. Well, we'll just start on the speed brakes. Nice and gently. They come up very, very slowly at this altitude. Something nice about the 787 is the speed brakes are very responsive. They come up as quickly and go away as quickly as you command, even in the cruise. The downside is you have to be smoother with them than you do on the Airbus. The Airbus sort of takes some of the thought out of it for you. George says, great time for flight sim. Anyone remember if Phoenix said the 21 and 19 are next on their roadmap? Imagine they might wait for the next sim version for that. I believe we're waiting for the Sharklets on the Phoenix now, I believe. Just a genuine question, as a pro pilot, which sim do you prefer for flight dynamics, forget graphics, etc.? That's tricky. I think it comes down to the individual airplanes. Microsoft has a general problem with ground handling and over grippiness of tyres, but some airplanes seem to do better than others. X-Plane doesn't have the same issue. It on the ground in particular, they handle a bit more realistically. I also like the replay feature built into X-Plane. But in terms of pure handling, I've flown excellent aircraft in both, and I don't think in X-Plane I've flown any airplanes that I really don't like the handling of, but I'm sure there are some. So it's X-Plane has a bit maybe a bit more consistency with the handling, perhaps. But there's plenty of super handling airplanes in Microsoft Flight Simulator. This and the fly-by-wire A320X are included in that. Just excellent. ODG John says, hey mate, how's the Dreamliner? Absolutely love it. Thank you very much for asking. Yeah, really enjoying it. Really enjoying it. It's a fantastic machine. Ian says, would love a dabble on Flight Sim 98 again. Yes, me too. I would absolutely love that. Yeah, let's disconnect autopilot. So if we disconnect the autopilot now, we'll get full speed brake. So I'm just going to disconnect it. And you'll see, I've actually selected full speed brake in the flight deck, which is what you would do in the real airplane, but it only deploys to half in the 320 family. Sorry, in the 320 specifically. You just get half. So if I want full, I have to disconnect the autopilot, and then they'll fully deploy. So I'll do that now. Let's do it from the outside view. Disconnecting. And as soon as I do, you see them come up. It's something to do with the way the autopilot is dampened and handles the speed brakes. It's great to see that in this Phoenix modeled correctly. Really useful feature, because you can see here, look how much extra speed we're losing because I haven't pitched down. So that's how much more effective the speed brakes are at full. Anyway, autopilot in, put them away because we're actually low now. So I'm going to go back to manage descent, speed des, and let the airplane hopefully regain its profile. Autopilot 1, speed des, out, blue 100s. Right, we did our landing performance with low auto brake, so we'll select that. Oh yeah, and what we should do, let me disconnect. Let's just try out the handling. Okay. So if I let go, it dampens back. That's pretty good. That's better, because I'm just using the thrustmaster CCA, which sort of springs back a little bit aggressively. So that's quite nice. But if I want to, because in the real aircraft, although it dampens back to the center, you can still move it quicker than that. So I still want to keep that control. Feels nice. Let's try it without. I don't know if you can hot swap like this. I'm not sure if I'm making much difference, I'll be honest with you. It feels very nice in general. Let's leave it on, see what happens. One thing I did notice, compared to previous, as the autopilot back in, previous versions, in the flare, this is very sensitive, and it has a tendency to float along. Now, whether that's because the side stick, they may have improved the accuracy, but it just feels different to what it was before. And it, of course, by being a different aeroplane, it's hard for me to tell. Different sort of side stick control. Ian Clay says, your poor passengers being shook around, coffee everywhere. Indeed. Indeed. Didn't hear the turbulence PA though, so it can't mean too rough. Right, anyway, so we've done our brief, we've set up the box. I think we're done there. I was going to do the checklist, which I think is the approach checklist next, actually. By the way, you can get to the full QRH in here now, but this would be quite a difficult way of reading through it. But it is there. So normal checklist. Approach checklist is next. Yeah, good. As we get down to 10,000 feet. So now the airplane should re-intercept. Let's see. From now on, I want to see a nice VNAV profile. I'm going to leave it alone. So it's got a 120 restriction at LSE 40. Below 120, so that's fine. So it's going to hit that at 120 and then level off or gently descend after that. See what it does. Also, still should have 2.3 extra, 2.2. So the fuel burn is good. It's doing well. I don't know why it's got no alternate fuel in. There we go. Yeah, 700 kilos extra. That'll be about right. You made up a little bit of fuel if you've been relatively efficient. We also went a bit higher. We had about 500 contingency. So yeah, this is good actually. I'm liking this. I specifically took the flight plan expected fuel, and it seems to have done a good job with it. Because that was the problem with the previous version. The burn on the engines was slightly out, wasn't it? Dave said, Amir said he'll alter the handling in the flare to be less dampened, as the feedback from most of the dampening is nice but too mushy. So what I found, so much float now, it's a Cessna now, says Cape. Yeah, I found it floated a bit more than I expected it to. But again, if I try and think back to how you move the side stick in the real A320 on landing, you don't need much flare, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes with the dampening. But that's my excuse if the landing is awful. It's because I haven't practiced with the dampening. Let me get the replay software up and running. So there you go. Now it's leveling off and decelerating. It's matching its expected profile. Got to say, VNAV is doing very well today. Very well. What is the transition altitude here? Or level, I should say. Well, 120 is clearly a level. 455. So let's say flight level 70. Right, if we have to forget the landing and do a bulk landing, I'm just going to go, there's speed mode. I'm going to go to toga, hold the pitch, wait till it gets away from the ground a bit, and then move the flaps in a stage, then positive rates. Positive climb, sorry, gear up. Got to get these the right way around now. Positive rate is a Boeing thing to say. Which says the good old 320 sim pilot list of possible excuses for an iffy landing. Surely not. Yeah, I think that's a good one though. I think I'll stick with that one. So things will level off and then begin a descent at Tala. Seems reasonable. I'm going to put 70 in the window now. Speed there's 70. There we go. Run 1228. It's a little broadcast. As we get a bit closer, actually, there's no traffic around as far as I can see. 3.4. Yeah, the fuel's doing good. I like this. Might get transfer as we get a bit closer in. Relatively healthy. Positive rate, says indeed. Isaac says, is there a reason why the autopilot might not work after an accidental engine shutdown in air and after restarting the engine? If it's just one engine, then no, the autopilot should work. You can turn off an engine and yeah, autopilot will still work on the Airbus, certainly. It can auto land on one engine. Cypher says, why are we so low? It's because of the restriction. We need to be below 100 at this next waypoint. It also wants to slow down to 220 knots, so it's trying to do both. There is flight at 100. Let's bring on the landing scales. Let's get the passengers strapped in. Landing lights on. I'm just letting the airplane do what it planned to do. Can't judge it otherwise. So, oh, we might fly through some rain here. This is great. This is just what rain looks like when you're in the air. So what does it think it's going to do at ECMEP? 4384, yeah. Let's see what it does. Let's imagine they clear us direct to ECMEP now. Insert. There's nav.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will shortly be landing.
No, degrees we're low. Okay. Because it's lost that restriction, so now it wants to be higher. What speed does it go for? It's activated the approach phase on its own as well. Okay. Well, that all seemed pretty accurate. It was meeting restrictions of that arrival. Let's do 250 for a little bit. I wouldn't ever do that in the real airplane because, yeah, the sudden wake up of the engines is quite disturbing to passengers. By the way, the sounds are spot on. I hope you can hear them. They are so good. That's just the IAU sort of buzzsaw noise is really captured nicely now. Well, I say now, it's really captured nicely. It's just great, great sounds. The transfer valve is normally whatever doesn't have a light, so yeah, it's closed. All these lights should be out. So that's normal fuel configuration. Just leave it all alone. Pumps running. Yep. Alex says, when you're descending towards 10,000 feet, do you switch the seatbelt sign on a bit early so the passengers have a chance to be seated by 10? Or just turn them on exactly 10? That'll be an airline procedure, Alex. Yeah, it would depend. There's no law about 10,000 feet passengers being seated that I'm aware of, certainly not in Europe. So it's not a requirement everyone is sat down by 10,000. It's just usually done around then to give everyone the chance to get, and the cabin crew a chance to get the cabin ready. Mateo says, you fully joined the Boeing dark side. Indeed, indeed. Sim sounds are a bit low. Sorry about that. Let me turn them up for you. Let me know how that goes. It's always a balance because of the way air traffic comes through. Oh, no sounds at all. I'm so sorry. Right, getting close now. We're going down to 3,000 feet. Let's set QNH, which is 1014.
Leon traffic on short final, runway 17.
And let's run our checklist.
Speedbird 364.
Approach checklist decam status is checked. Approach type and runway, we're doing the ILS 17 left. By the way, another thing I love that the Boeing doesn't do is drawing the name of the approach up there. It makes it very clear. Minima, we're going with 980. Approach phase, it did already activate, I could tell, but there we go, it's active. Bow RF, QNH 1014, set. There we go. Right, down to 3,000 feet. It's on profile. Let's go to manage speeds. Now we've left it high. $15 miles out, doing accelerating. So let's go speed brakes out. Here they come. We are recording. Yeah. This is another autopilot off time. Let's get full speed brake out. Those of you joining us, if you are enjoyed, do please leave a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel. Really, really appreciate it. So I've taken the autopilot out. That gives us full speed brake because we are high and fast here. After my shortcut that I gave myself. So just follow the flight directors. It's important you do keep following them because as they raise there, that's going to allow the speed to wash off. Now we're 13 miles out, back below 230 knots. So that's a good sign. I'm going to re-engage the autopilot to release some of the workload. And let's go flap 1. So we're below the dashes. Flaps 1. We've got good diamonds. We've got an ILS identified. I'm just going to let it start the turn and then I'm going to arm the approach. Although we are pointing towards it actually. So this is an Airbus, so that's fine. So I'll just arm it now and take the second autopilot. There we go. So Cat 3 dual, AP1+2, lock star and glide slope is armed. Speed brake's going away. 12 miles out, 180 knots. All under control. You can see the power of taking out the autopilot to get those full speed brakes deployed. It's very, very useful. What a shiny airplane. Looks lovely. Again, love this grey livery. I hope we get to see some of our charter airlines back in the sim. Still don't understand why Microsoft insists on this camera being so out of line with the airplane, but there we go.
Speedbird 364, Lyon traffic.
Lyon traffic, Midland 222. We are on final for 17 left at 10 miles. 10 miles on approach to 17 left. There's glide slope and localizer. We're going to have a go around altitude of 5,000 feet in the window. If I can get it set. There it is. Ah, bit of a problem with my hardware there. Interesting. Good, 5,000. Right, descending 5,000, Cat 3 dual, 8.9 miles out, and I'm just going to double check with my progress page, 8.5 miles out, so yeah, that really pretty much as we would expect.
2,500.
In the Boeing, you arm localizer, then approach. I will do a 787 tutorial. Again, for those of you who just joined, I did fly the Airbus for many years, but now I fly the Boeing 787. And there's the radio altimeter coming to life, as we said, about 3,300 feet. Yeah, on the Boeing, you arm localizer, then the approach. Now, the 787, it doesn't matter, but that's just a procedure that the 777 uses. On the 777, it had the potential to try and fly a glide slope, even if it wasn't on the localizer, which you're not allowed to do. But the Airbus doesn't do that in any circumstance, though. So there you go. Right, starting to run away on the speed, so let's go gear down. Flaps 2. Cabin is already ready, that's good. Those, get those lights on. Let's find out how this airplane handles.
Lyon traffic, Speedbird 3 and Whiskey, we are 25 track miles away right base for runway 1.
This is Maggie, good to see you. You indeed join the right time. Now, I haven't tried landing this with the SDS on, so that's my excuse for this landing, and it's well before 1,000 feet. Let's go flaps 3. We're going to need full speed brake here. We'll pilot off. And flaps full. Speed brake away.
Lyon traffic, United 320 on a 10
Autopilot in.
runway 17 left.
Rearm that. Oh, it's not going to like that one. There we go. It's managing, doing a good job. That was pretty nasty of me to raise a nose like that, and it is getting itself back to the glide slope. Anyway, we're going to fly manually now. So we are configured. We have the ECAM memo. Auto thrust is in speed mode. Autopilot off. Let's see how this goes. How does it handle? Sitting high on the glide slope. One red out there though. Okay, I can feel the difference of that dampening. Okay, yeah, feels nice. It's just quite floaty, I think, compared to how it was before anyway.
Minimum.
It's also quite a high seating position for the Airbus.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard.
And then it just sort of floats along here.
5.
Just touchdown. First idle. Let the nose come down. I don't know. It feels like I'm having to use next to no side stick, and I'm pretty confident it needs a little bit more than that. I don't know though. I don't know. Again, I wasn't involved in the beach of this time round, but I was involved in the original release. But yeah, I don't know. I like it. I like it. Something we need to get used to, perhaps. Manual brakes. Anyway, there we go. We have made it. Welcome to Lyon. I'm also confident, by the way, in the Fenix team in their decisions to come to why that would be the way they wanted to handle. So I need to adjust, see what my settings are, make sure I've got everything right. It does just feel like it has a lot of energy in the flare. A lot of energy. But still, lovely. And I think I like the dampening. The way it was handling there on final, as I twitched the side stick, it was good. It sort of discouraged you from over controlling the airplane, because it just sort of just numbs it out, which is exactly how the real aircraft is. You shouldn't be waggling the side stick on final unless it's seriously windy. You really don't need to be doing much at all. Lyon traffic, Midland 222, runway 17 left vacated, crossing runway 17 right. It's all clear. Let's go and park up. Yeah, well, we have a replay, so thank you all so much for coming along and watching. Replay coming soon. If you did enjoy, do please leave a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel, as I keep saying, but I really do appreciate it, and we have quite a lot of you joining us today, so that'd be really, really kind of you. We'll go and park up next to that EasyJet Airbus over there. I'm going to leave all the configuration as it is, of course. For the replay, I'll just put the speed brakes down. We'll leave it at flaps full and the lights on, but yeah. Thanks, Dougal. Glad you enjoyed it. Elitist Maggie, thanks so much for the super chat. Really very kind. Elitist says, definitely butter that bread. Have a beer on me, Captain. Thank you, Elitist Maggie. Yeah, I was ready for the SDS didn't affect the flare as much as I thought it would. The SDS does affect the handling, I can tell, but yeah, the flare itself, that sort of high energy state that it feels like it's in anyway, was certainly, I say high energy. Again, I'm just talking about in comparison to the previous version. I want to be really clear with that, that I'm not suggesting that it's wrong. I'm just saying it feels different. And by comparison, it feels a little bit more floaty or easier to float. So you need to do the same sort of flare, but then you just don't need to hold the pressure on the stick. And to be fair, in the real aircraft, you don't hold pressure on the side stick in the flare much either. So yeah, I mean, it's such a different experience to the 787. 787 is very heavy on the controls, very, very lively and responsive as well, but doesn't float very easily. Once the throttles come back to idle, the 787 really does just start running out of energy. It's a quick aeroplane, big engines too. But yeah, thanks so much, Elise Maggie, for the $10 super chat. Really appreciate it, and we did get away with that landing anyway. And Hayden J. Robbins, thank you for the £3.20 super chat. Very kind. Hayden says, butter was spread. Well done, sir. Legend. Thank you, Hayden. Thanks for coming along. I did get your messages. I will reply when I get the chance. I can only apologise. It's been a bit of a rush today, as you can tell with the timing to this stream. Thank you all for those likes, those of you watching. Really appreciate it. Right, let's park up here, and then we'll get ourselves some replay action. Isaac says, is the seating position realistic? I personally would sit a bit lower than this. Now, whether that's accurate or not, I don't know, but that's the angle I prefer in my simulators. Again, this is very, very difficult to specify because, of course, it's just hard to replicate a full flight deck on a screen and then say which angle is correct per set. So really, you're lining up with these. So
whiskey, we are 2 mile
these do forwards and backwards, but I would say this feels higher than I would typically want to sit. I don't expect to see this sort of grating down here and so on in my natural position. And I would also say you could see that by the fact that the camera is sitting above the headrest. But that does obviously depend on the seating position. No way. I didn't know it did that. Well, that answers that. If you can move the seats, then sure, we can have the seating position wherever we fancy. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So that's fully down. So that's probably what they're thinking. They're saying, well, you wouldn't have it fully down. Amazing. So where would that be? Yeah, so that's probably, yeah. I don't know. Seems fine, but I tend to like to sit a little bit low in flight decks in real life, to be fair. So yeah. Anyway, right. Thank you all so much. There are some colleagues out there. Let's see if we can quickly go and check on their landings, and then we'll have the replay for you all. There we go. We'll catch this one. Dougal says it's the little things in life. Yeah, it is indeed. It is indeed. There's a BA Airbus coming in. Oh. Beautiful. Down in the touchdown zone. Lots of spray. That's quite an effect. I've never seen that effect in the simulator before. Amazing. I wonder if ours did that. Very cool. Right, thank you all so much for flying along with us. I hope you enjoyed flying along. I didn't get a chance because it's quite a short flight to see where everyone was. But we're just going to disconnect from that sim. I'm going to reset that camera. We're going to stop recording and have a look at that landing. So, by the way, you saw that that was certainly not the most best energy management on an approach there ever. Pushing the criteria a little bit. But certainly if you're using the 500 feet criteria, we're absolutely fine. But yeah, that's one of those things where if you raise the nose just before 1,000 feet, it does wash off the energy quite quickly. But then when I re-engaged the autopilot, you saw that it didn't like that. So that wasn't really a good way of doing it. Really, you should just go around and go and do it again. But let's go have a look at this landing. Strange as well, we were one red there. Oh, it's not going to show us now. Anyway, we won't get too bogged down with the avionics at this point. So, over the thresholds. Into the flare. And then I just did a bit of an extra bit of flare at the end there just to soften that. Yeah, so I don't know. Feels fine. But then you see here, the way the nose stays up. It's not quite what I'd expect the nose to drop. And that just suggests to me that it has a bit of extra lift coming at the end there. I don't know, though. I don't know. But still, it's lovely. You can use the Airbus landing technique, and it works just fine, as you would hope. So, yeah. Yeah. And I know they have a fantastic team working on this, so I'm sure there's reasons for it all. And perhaps I'm misremembering, because that, you know, I managed to do the landing I wanted, even with a bit of a float, and then down comes the nose. And also, you know, like I say, I don't fly this airplane at the moment. It's been many months now, actually. So although I was on it for years, I'm no longer current on it, which is sort of sad to say. But there we go. Right, yeah, it's fantastic. If you have the Fenix, definitely, of course, you're going to upgrade to this version. But it is just super, and I've had a great time with it. Now it's going to be a bit tricky for me to do the replay because we configured the airplane so late. Somewhere there. I'm going to put the camera in the cabin, which is going to be good for you. Forward. The forward view is normally quite nice. We don't do middle very often though. Let's do forward. No, I'm changing my mind. Let's do aft. Let's see the flaps. By the way, have a look for the flaps fluttering in the wind as well. That's just an awesome effect. And I'm going to say thank you all so much for joining us today. It's been incredibly good fun. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you for those very kind. We've had so many very kind super chats and tips today. Really appreciate those. And thank you for all the brilliant comments and kind words. It means the world to me as ever. And I've missed getting the streams in. Sorry it took this long. But yeah, great to be back today, and we'll be back soon in the 787, of course. More videos to come. I've been able to get some done recently, which is great news, and we'll get those tutorials carrying on the 787. Thank you to the moderators for looking after us. Thank you to those of you who flew along with us, and thank you, of course, to everyone just watching and chatting. Do please leave a like on the way out if you've enjoyed it. We will see you again in another video or live stream very soon. Please do keep safe and well. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.